Hi friends, I'm Sister Serena. You guys might remember me from KidMin or VBS. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really starting to miss being around the people I haven't seen in a while. It's hard to be away from the people that we care about. Today we're going to hear about a man who had a sickness called leprosy, and like the coronavirus, people were afraid of catching it, so he had to stay away from his family and friends. But Jesus helped him, and Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely too. Before we get started, let's grab all the supplies you'll need. You'll need your thankful journals, markers or crayons, a ruler or tape measure, a clear container about 1/3 of the way full with water, it should be tightly closed, and some oil. I'll wait while you pause the video. I also want to take a minute to talk about this week's God sightings. How have you seen God at work this week? For me personally, I went to the store with my mom a few days ago. When we came out of the store, a huge storm had opened up and it was pouring rain. But on our way home, God kept us safe throughout that storm. Pause me for a minute as you talk about your God sightings. Even with all these great things that God is doing right now, there are still a lot of hard things too. I wonder, what's been the hardest thing for you about this whole coronavirus situation? For me personally, it's being stuck inside all the time. Pause me as you share with your family about what's been hard for you. One of the hardest things for many people is not being able to see friends and extended family. For me, I miss my cousin Danielle the most. Pause the video and talk to your family. Share the name of the person that you most miss seeing right now. I will overcome. He's the rock that will never move. I will hold on to him. Being separated from people we care about can make us feel lonely, but Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely. Let's hear how Jesus' power helped a man in the Bible who was probably very lonely. Back in biblical times, there was a disease called leprosy. If you got it, you'd get painful sores all over your body. There was no cure, and often people who caught it would die or lose fingers and toes. People were afraid of catching it, much like people are afraid of the coronavirus right now. What are some things that we're supposed to do right now to avoid catching the coronavirus? Pause the video and list as many as you can. One thing we're supposed to do is wash our hands really well. Let's pretend to wash our hands as we sing the ABCs. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? We're also supposed to stay away from other people. That's called social distancing. We're being told that to stay safe from catching the coronavirus, we're supposed to be 6 feet away from anyone else. Let's try that. Use your ruler or tape measure to make sure everyone in the room is standing or sitting at least 6 feet apart. If you don't have a way to measure it, that's okay. Just guess. People in biblical times knew all about social distancing. In fact, they were so afraid of catching leprosy, it was against the law for someone with leprosy to even come into the city. And if someone with leprosy was around other people, he or she had to call out, "Unclean! Unclean!" So everyone around would know to stay away. No one wanted to accidentally touch someone with leprosy. All those rules must have made people who had leprosy feel pretty lonely. Let's try something. Without losing your 6 feet of separation, reach out and try to hug the other people in your family. Remember, don't lean in and get closer than 6 feet. I'll reach out and try to hug you. Unless you have really long arms, you aren't even able to touch anyone. No hugs, no pats on the back. Just you in your own little bubble. Here's a question for you to talk about. How do you think it would feel to have to be this far apart from everyone for years? Pause me while you talk about that. It could be pretty lonely to not be able to be close enough to hug anyone for a really long time. But let's see what Jesus did when he met someone who had leprosy. If you want to follow along in your Bible, look up Matthew chapter 8, verses 1 to 3. While Jesus walked along, a man with leprosy came up to him out of the crowd. The man knew Jesus had the power to heal his leprosy, so he said to Jesus, "Lord, if you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean." Jesus reached his hand out and touched the man and answered, "I am willing. Be healed." And the man was healed instantly. Wait, did you hear what Jesus did? Let me say it again. Jesus touched the man. This man probably hadn't had a hug or a pat on the back or anyone touch him at all for a really long time. Then Jesus touched him. Jesus wasn't afraid of getting leprosy. Jesus knew his power was greater than any disease, leprosy or coronavirus. Jesus knew that not only did this man's body need healing, but his heart needed healing too. This man needed to feel Jesus' love right there on his arm, or his shoulder, or his head. He needed a loving touch to heal his loneliness. We need to be wise and protect ourselves from sickness right now. But being separated from other people can make us feel really lonely. Now pause me and talk about these questions. Who do you know that might be feeling lonely right now? And how could you reach out to them? Thanks for sharing. We can reach out to help others when they're lonely. But even when no one else is around, Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely. He's always right there with us to comfort us and heal our hearts. The people in Jesus' time didn't want people with leprosy mixing in with anyone else. I have a fun mix-it-up science experiment we can try to help us think more about that. So it's time to use your oil in your clear container of water. Pour some oil into your container so there's about the same amount of oil and water in the container. That should look something like this. Now, if you can, close the container tight. You may want to have an adult double check. Now for 10 seconds, shake the container or stir it if you can't close it. I'll count it down for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now stop and take a look at our mixture. We've mixed it up really well, but let's see what happens as it settles down. While we're waiting to see what happens, pause the video and talk about this with your family. What do you miss most because you're separated from others right now? For me personally, I miss not being able to go to church. As the mixture settles down, it doesn't look like the oil and water are really mixed. It seems like the oil and water want to stay separate. I think they're practicing social distancing. Oil and water naturally want to stay separate, but it isn't so natural for us. Being separated from others can make us feel lonely, but we can turn to Jesus for help because Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely. Even though we're separated from a lot of our friends, we still have our family here with us, and we can still connect with people online and even do online Sunday school together. If it's healthy for you, go ahead and gather with your family for a nice group hug. And if it's not safe to hug someone right now, try giving a long-distance hug, like this. And thank Jesus for each person in your family by name. Ready? Pause. Focusing on the people Jesus has put in our lives, even in this hard time, can help us feel less lonely. That's one way Jesus' power helps us when we're lonely. So when this video ends, draw a picture in your thankfulness journal of someone you're thankful for that you can connect to during this time, either in person or online. Put today's date on that page and keep adding to your journal this week as you see more God sightings. See you next week!